everybody, and welcome to DM Writer's Room, a show where I forget what I'm doing and accidentally click on to talking to everybody in the middle of chatting. We were at least muted. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. That is deeply funny. I'm looking forward in the distant future to us looking back on that absolute fuck up. That's incredible. So, today, we are going to be starting as a two-man. I'm led to believe that we will be being joined by our normal third, but we shall see, we shall see. We are, you might be wondering, random roll? That's not D100 horror.
What does that mean?
Well, listen. It's a heat wave. The office is hot. Spencer's got a migraine. Our next D100 task is like, we need to name 104 skills. No, absolutely not. Not a snowball's chance in hell.
Not
So
today.
what we're going to do is revisit some of our old ideas and pick one at random, and that's the one we have to work on today, regardless of whether or not it was a good idea. Now, for those of you eagle-eyed listeners who have been attending to our wonderful program for a long time, you will know that there's about 2,305 unused ideas. We have a somewhat more refined list of our more recent findings, and I believe, although he is clearly looking for something right now, Spencer's going to random roll to see which one we do.
Ethan, I actually have to have you roll it because my dice set in front of me is missing the D4, which is going to be a death trap for me at some point in the next couple days when I step around this room.
That's a toughie. That's not what you want.
No.
It's not great. All right. Let me get out this whole set, actually. I'm going to try to do it at a volume that is not absolute ear destruction for our poor listeners. Okay. A D4. A 4.
It's the swamp.
We're going, but we knew we'd be back.
Swamp.
We knew we'd be back. Welcome to the swamp. So for those of you who don't remember, when we were talking about different ideas for... oh gosh, what is the... I don't even remember the origin stream of the swamp. I think it was D&D, right?
It is D&D.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, we were like, come with an idea, and I just did the swamp.
Oh yeah, and that's when I did Fire Giants Are Making a Volcano. You did the swamp. And Michael did whatever one. I don't remember what it was.
Rogue's Tourney.
We didn't do any of those, so what did we do?
I think somebody came with 2 ideas, and then we rolled on that list or something. Like, yeah, we random rolled for 4 options, and the other one is the one we picked, but I don't know what it was.
Maybe that was Demon Tree. Do you remember Demon Tree? Viewers, you remember Demon Tree?
Oh, I think so.
Was that Demon Tree? I feel like it was Demon Tree.
I think so.
What if a tree had a demon in it? So we're going to do Swamp. So we are making a D&D adventure dungeon, something in that kind of category that has to do with the Swamp, which Spencer just said it was a vibe that Spencer had, that it's like, you know, the deep muggy bog with hanging trees and gnarled roots with mud and dragonflies and giant and terrible mosquitoes, of which of course we couldn't help but refer to as just Swamp.
Just Swamp.
Now,
I know that I came up with it as an adventure idea, you know, a one-shot. We could do a setting. We could do a swamp setting and bestiary. We could really go crazy on the swamp. I think that this is rife. It's ripe for the picking. There's a lot of ideas floating around for the swamp.
I'd be happy to throw the Swamp in a previous product or sort of break ground on a new product. We talk a lot about how when you're trying to make a world, you can either start with the macro or the micro, big scale or small scale. And I suppose the smallest possible scale is the swamp. You start with a random swamp somewhere in your world. Do you have a preference between the two?
I think it would be really funny to make a whole thing based off of the swamp. So I think let's just go crazy for it. Let's see how big we can make the swamp.
Okay. So that is my next question. So if the swamp is a setting, we're going to call it a setting for D&D 2024 5th edition, right? Okay, cool. So
Advanced 5e.
Advanced 5e, there you go. Advanced 5e. So the swamp is our setting. So we're really trying to make like a whole area here, somewhere where adventures can happen. Now, if for an adventure to be able to happen here means that it needs to take like a couple of days to get from one end of the swamp to the other, right? So normally players can go 25 to 30 miles in a day, like 20 to 30 miles in a day. We can safely call the swamp difficult terrain.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not going 20 to 30, right? They're going like 10 to 20 miles in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So that means this swamp is needs to be a good, like, 200 miles across.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So this is...
It's not a swamp.
It's
the
swamp. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this is like a massive,
200-mile
super swamp. Clearly, in at least some way, profoundly magical.
What is the biggest swamp in the U.S.? The Atchafalaya Basin in Louisiana. 1 million acres. Okay. I don't know how many.
Of
that is miles.
course, a million.
Of course, 1 million
Chat.
acres.
Get in the comments. How big is a million acres?
It's 1,500 miles for 1 million acres.
Okay, so big, so huge.
Pretty big. That's the biggest one in the U.S. And for all of our eagle-eyed-eared listeners out there, you will know that Louisiana is mostly a swamp. So it's not really a surprise that that state has the biggest swamp
Majority swamp.
in the world. Or in the U.S. Probably not in the world.
Okay, so now my question is, why is our setting so swamp limited? Why are we, what we could call sort of #swamp locked?
What creates a swamp? I think we got to take it from that angle.
Water. The real answer is
Water makes swamp.
the real answer is
It's a basin.
a river. A bunch of rivers flood into the same area, and rather than making one sort of large central river, they create a large floodplain that becomes so logged with water that it becomes kind of a mix between the two properties, right? It's basically like a heavily forested delta.
I have a weird question. Also, hello, stream. What's the difference between a swamp and a marsh?
And a bog.
Bogs have more mud and aren't usually on attached to a larger body of water, if I remember correctly. Marshes don't have large foliage and much fauna.
Yes.
They are lower laying and usually along the sides of rivers. Swamps are very big and usually outflow to a larger body of water, such as a large lake or ocean, I think.
Okay.
That is accurate. I just looked it up. Michael, just to fill you in, we are making the
Why do
swamp.
I know
because
that?
you weren't here, I couldn't be outvoted, so we are making an entire setting based off of the swamp.
Sweet. I love it. We can do it. Are we settings wise? Are we fantasy? Are we?
Yeah, D20.
Sure.
This is fantasy. This
Okay.
is like an alternate Forgotten Realms. We're gonna go head to head with the Forgotten Realms with the swamp. So
With the
everybody
swamp.
out there, wizards, be ready for that.
So we have this massive, profoundly magical super swamp. I'll just ask, like, why do we want to give a reason why the entire adventure is going to happen in the swamp? Like, is it just that so I have a couple of things that immediately come to mind, right, when it comes to these sort of like location-based settings. Number one is this is the new ground of our world, right? There is a crumbling empire somewhere, or a great war, and the people fleeing it have settled here because it is undesirable land. They will not be accosted by invading forces, and so they go to the swamp. That's option one. Option two, the swamp holds profound magical secrets, and hungry adventurers have been coming here for centuries, looking for what is deep within its bogs and trees and branches. And then option three, the swamp is incredibly violent and dangerous, and you are here because of ill, terrible fate and luck. And you can tell in our setting when you've succeeded because you have left the swamp.
Yeah. I think number two. Michael, go ahead.
I like a heavy 2 with a minor 3.
Yeah. Here's what I'm thinking. The swamp has sections, because it's such a big place, of like townships built in the trees, people that have become one with the swamp nature. She just walked out. She's right there. Sorry, we're looking for our puppy. She's right here. So there's people that are set up in the swamp. They live there. There are huge swaths of the swamp that are incredibly dangerous. Magical power and monsters and gods are rife in this space. This is a place of life, because it is a swamp. Swamps are full of life. So it's very similar.
So
that's how I'm seeing it.
The term for the kind of setting we are describing is a points of light setting. It is a large, dangerous, I'm going to use a loaded term, but it's the one that you use when you describe points of light, uncivilized setting.
Cancel him.
With points of there are people here and over there and over there. And when you are traveling, getting to the other people is like, we did it! Like, just getting to the next town and living to do it is kind of the big, exciting thing that happens half the time. Is just, we lived!
It's funny. That reminds me a lot of Oral. Yes.
What does it remind you of? Sorry.
Pause.
Her name has been retconned to Oriel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cowards.
When the book came out, it was Oral, Rime of the Frost Maiden. Oral was the Frost Maiden, and then literally like 2 months after it came out, they just started saying Oriel out of nowhere.
No.
It's like, one eye. It's one eye and an L, guys.
They were like,
it's
fucked
Oral.
up so bad. Yes, it is kind of Icewind Dale adjacent, though. I get what you're going for. Icewind Dale, for those of you fans, Forgotten Realms, fame and lineage. There have been books set in Icewind Dale. There have been movies set in Icewind Dale. There have been games set in Icewind Dale. There's been, full adventure set in Icewind Dale. Wizards of the Coast loves that spot. I don't know why, but they are crazy about it. Okay, so we have a sort of loose network of settlements. And we know that the swamp is not necessarily hostile, but it is dangerous. Mm-hmm. Right? So we're not describing, like, the blood swamp of Corifax, like, and it goes after anybody that goes in, and it's full of blood ivy and terrible monsters. We're talking about, the normal real swamp, where it's bad, but in a world where the bad things are worse and the good things are better, right? So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Except for you will blame leeches and ticks on the blood gods.
I know, so there's my thing. So where do we want to start next? I immediately have ideas for great spirits / gods. And that's immediately what I have.
See, my brain immediately went to Avatar: The Last Airbender with the villages and the people in the swamp episodes.
And I was also thinking of the villagers and the people, and I was thinking of what the thread is that brought you here. So what's stopping flow between the various tribes?
Well, if this is a setting, we don't really need to solve that. Unless you imagine there being some big central conflict, like how Dragonlance always has the war that is going on in Dragonlance, right?
I think we don't have to solve that. Let's dive into the villages, and the villages I think will illuminate some pantheons for us.
Okay, and I've got a couple of gods in the pocket for when we get there. All right, cool. So first thing I want to hear, there's 2 towns that I think the setting immediately needs. Number 1 is the big industrialized, we will pave the swamp. Like, that's got to be out there somewhere, right? They are profoundly out of sync with nature. They certainly have a lot of opposition. I don't know exactly what that is, right? But it's like, us, we're the West Mine Mining Company. And they're trying to, really do some damage here. And then the other is like I don't know how to it's the there is nowhere left to go, so you end up here. It's the like, you're running from the guards in every town? Well, there's one place you can go.
Of Misfit Toys. Yeah.
Like a real reclusive place. So those are the two set immediate that kind of jump mind to me, right? What about you? It sounds like Spencer said big tree house. So clearly Spencer is imagining some kind of like inter-tree massive town.
Yeah.
And then Michael was sort of gesturing to a full like we are one with the swamp.
The swamp druids
Group as well. Yeah, kind of a druidic group. I think that works pretty well. Where do we want to start? What's one of these towns we want to stick a flag in?
I think we can start with the one that is all about cementing the swamp. Because in my mind, that would be the first one you interact with. Because they've got an outpost, they're probably on the edge of the swamp, and they're starting to work their way in. So, working there for like an adventure path would make sense. But I think it just makes sense for us as well.
I'm so glad that you said cementing it, because how I see it is like how you like people burn down the Congo or cement the Congo. It's they're building like a patio deck almost, like it's
just
wood
slowly
spread out.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
timeline. We need to stick a toothpick in our time period because this is a D&D beef that I have when they don't do this. So like, is it
Are we in D&D?
is it medieval? It's D&D no matter what, but the question is, are we like Neolithic? Are we like bronze? Are we medieval? Are we Renaissance? Like, do people have fancy pants and it's the Renaissance and they're like, we just rediscovered that you can kind of build a helicopter that'll crash and kill you? Or is it like early cowboy but black powder never got invented? I
have
have
like fantasy renaissance, but continue.
all right, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
hey.
on the same page.
Let's go, big pants.
So it's the fantasy renaissance. So like we've got some horses, we've got some technology. We know we've come up with fireworks, right? We've got glass. We got glass out the wazoo. There's glass everywhere. We love it. I think that makes a lot of sense. So then who showed up and is paving the swamp? Who's building, who is slowly covering the ground? If it's a wizard, right? If it's some kind of arcane person who came here to build their tower and has now begun to expand, and it's about the hubris of wizards, then I don't think it's a deck. I think it is like a slowly growing transmutation circle that is just turning the ground to solid ground, and the wizard's like, I'm doing it perfectly. And you're like, what about the creatures that are in it? And he goes, I don't know. And he's just kind of doing his thing. Or is it somebody here to like strip resources and send them other places, right? Is the swamp so magical that there are things, ingredients, spell components that are worth pulling out to ship off to the war front or whatever it is that is in the rest of this continent?
My first thought was like a king's rejected second son trying to make his own kingdom.
Oh, and there you go. There's another good one.
Hates mud and germs.
I like that because it also opens up the world for the, competing kingdom. I think that's fun.
Okay, so
And it's more mundane. You can easily dismantle this if you want to go toe-to-toe with a burgeoning kingdom.
So we have a second son who tried to basically do a coup, tried to kill his brother and kill his dad, failed in the execution, and has been exiled. Or maybe their father died, he tried to kill his brother, failed, and now his brother was like, I take mercy on you, and exiled him to the swamp. And now he's like, I'm gonna build my own kingdom with cocaine and hookers. And he's like slowly paving the swamp Bender style and just kind of making his own area. Okay, cool. So what's the name of the kingdom? Because so it's like it's gonna be like Chiron and New Chiron, right?
It could be the name, but the name flipped. Like reversed.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you meant upside down, and I went, keep explaining. I
So
went,
instead of
this is why
Chiron,
we do it.
it'd be Noric instead of Chiron.
I'm happy to go either way. You like doing that in a way that I don't always relate to.
So goofy for me. Well, let's
put a pin in it.
call it Chiron for now. Yeah.
Okay. New Chiron, and then I'll put in parentheses Norik. All right. So
South
Norik
Nork.
is it. So it sounds like it
South
is.
Nork is hilarious.
It is like a large kingdom that is beginning to expand, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people of this kingdom, what are they doing to like make money to survive? Is this a place where they are like hunting, and are they logging and raising the forest to the ground in so doing, right? Because this young king is like, I need enough money to amass an army to go kill my brother who I failed to kill once. So how is he trying to raise an incredible volume of like gold and assets? Is it strange plants that are only found in the swamp? Is it just is there just a clear expanse where they have been cutting down trees? Is it some third thing is there gold under the swamp? Is he hunting like my next thought is like, is he hunting the gods of the swamp to like kill them or whatever?
I think tying the destruction of the swamp into the character backstory is the best option. So, logging. It's just destroying the swamp to get the resources. Sometimes it's magical beasts. Most of the time it's logs. Sometimes it's, I found a treasure chest and we can add it to the stock. They are de-fantasifying this whole area.
Why are the trees from the swamp special?
Because I think that the whole swamp is probably blessed in a way that means they're like the redwoods. They just haven't been touched.
Because I was going to say there's kind of a twofold thing here, right? Because number one, logging is fast, and we need it to not be fast, right? This person can't have logged half the swamp in a couple of days, which is very reasonable. So the trees need to be weirdly hard to cut down, and they need to be so valuable that it's worth it. So to you, they're blessed, and so they grow exceptionally large and are difficult to cut down because of, are they also like hyper dense? Is this like giga mahogany?
Yeah, it's like armor.
I could see there being like a convoy of wizards that are just there to keep on dispelling. Like this.
Okay, there you
dispel
go.
This bless, dispel this bless.
Disenchanting the trees is fun.
Okay, so like super dense, big trees.
So they're also limited in that you can only cast this spell so many times.
Okay, so wizards to dispel, because basically the entire swamp is blessed, and so these wizards have to come along and like disrupt the magic in enough time. What I love about that I think is really cool is that means the wizard disrupts the magic, the tree is cut down, and after it falls, they stop, and the tree is still magical. So they aren't even dispelling it. They are just temporarily disrupting the magic. And then as they pull back, the tree can fall and be taken off somewhere else. I think that's really cool. Okay, so we know that he has wizards at his disposal. We know he's logging these super majestic trees. We know he's selling them off for money. Is New Chiron or Norik, is it actually, at this point, is it kind of metropolitan? Like, are there smokestacks and chimneys and Renaissance, so not smokestacks. Are there artisans and tanners? Is there like, does the water nearby run red and stink? Like, or is it, we've managed to cut down some trees, our population's way too high, and it's just like cramped and they have gold?
I think that it's become pretty metropolitan at this point. There are artisans. People have taken up his call to go to New Chiron. And it's expanding, and they're keeping up with that expansion. Because the next town we go to is not going to be that way at all. So this is a good counter for the deeper swamp towns.
So I will say that kind of tells us something with this pseudo king too. He's pretty charismatic. If he's getting people to take up arms in the swamp,
he's got a cadre of wizards that are coming out to do his bidding. A town full of people. Yeah, he probably was the favored son to take the throne as far as the core or the people are concerned. So that's fun.
Yeah.
It's just going to be really rough when you have to make them stop cutting down the swamp because environmentally it's a terrible thing to do. But
And I think this gives us a great opportunity for this to just be a really divisive place for the players. I think that Norik is full of amenities, and if you need weapons, you can get weapons. If you need a room, if you need some, they're going to be able to produce more magic items because they have such plentiful magic flowing in that they can turn into items. Players are going to be able to get, like, ironwood bows and incredible arrows that never break, and you can always recover them even if you can shoot an arrow 1,000 times and it'll always be good, at the expense of the forest being devastated for 20 miles in all directions around the city. Like, truly devastated. And it gives a fun energy of, we need supplies. Are we going to Norik? Why? They've got everything we need. Like, Norik being the Amazon of this swamp is deeply funny. Yeah. Where it's like, come on. I know Jeff Bezos is bad, but, like, I need a new printer.
it's cheap.
And I can't afford full price for a printer.
I see like 3 adventures for the king alone in this domain. Because there's get to the bottom of what's making these trees be enchanted and then disenchanted. Destroy it or capture it so we can disenchant, re-enchant at our will instead of hiring the wizards
Definitely
out.
capture.
Yeah, capture. There's go to the old kingdom and assassinate my brother so I can come in and I'll leave the swamp alone. Like there's so many options just with this one place and this one guy. So it's super cool.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, and then you do a couple of like easy quests, and then the third quest is like kill the great catfish, and you're like, I'm starting to not feel great about this. You're like, I'm starting to
Great catfish.
Sorry, he just gave me a contract to kill the great toad Baraxes, and I don't love that. Like, how evil can the great toad be? I don't think so. All right.
You can do so many cool things with that. Doing like a swamp dragon, there's a catfish. Like,
Can I be so for real? I think the naming convention of the Great Blank is super cool. The Great Catfish, the Great Toad. Like, we should keep that as area bosses throughout the domain.
Do we want to keep it the Great, or do we want different synonyms for Great?
We'll find.
No, I think the Great, and then they have their own name.
And then they have a name.
Okay.
Yeah. One that I do have. One of the gods that I do have stuck in my head is like the Leech, or the Great Leech. Is this blood god of the swamp? One of the things that makes it dangerous is this massive. And I imagine the vampires of the swamp don't have like little fangs. Instead, like a second mouth like comes out of their mouth, and it's this ringed toothed thing.
It's so gross. It's so gross.
Are the area bosses the gods of each area?
I don't love the term area boss. I think
sorry, we've been playing a lot of Night Rain.
I think there are great spirits of the swamp that are why it is so profoundly magical, and I think they are everywhere. I think they can be found all across, and I think there are probably competing. I don't think there's one, the Great Crocodile. I think there are probably a couple, right? Crocodile, alligator. I don't know which one's swamps. It might be alligators. I think it's alligators.
I don't know.
Aren't crocodiles sand, alligator tree? I think. I'll give that
I could tell you, if I was looking at one, I could tell you which it is. That's about all I know.
Where they are, we don't know.
Big old beak, right? Big flat beak.
You see like alligators in the Everglades, so I'm gonna say you're probably talking about gators.
Let's see. Alligators have broader U-shaped snouts and are primarily found in fresh water, while crocodiles have narrower V-shaped snouts and can tolerate both freshwater and saltwater environments. Alligators primarily inhabit freshwater environments like lakes, rivers, and swamps. Crocodiles are usually in coastal areas.
There we go.
All right, there we go. And crocodiles hate people, and alligators kind of don't give a shit. That's the big difference. Crocodiles hate you, and alligators just like, what are you doing over here? So I think there's like a couple of great alligators, and I just think, I need
good.
I need old Gnarlbones great alligator of the western swamp, and there's just this like 100-foot gator that just slowly makes its way through, and it's like, why'd they call him Old Gnarlbones? And he's like, well, he was just Old Bones, and then he ate the Great Green Dragon, now he's Old Gnarlbones. It's like, all right, cool, great, thank you so much. A huge update. All right,
We got an alligator. We got leeches. We got snakes.
oh yeah. So if that's
why I wanted to do the swamp.
this is well,
So many creatures.
so now we have Norik, which is the Norik / New Chiron, right? We have this terrible industrial force. What's our next population center? Or is there a spirit or god of the swamp that Norik pays tribute to?
What would be okay with destruction like that? That would like accept bribery.
That's kind of where I was thinking that we
swamp.
would have a god that is like consumptive, right? A god of consumption. It could be the leech. I don't know if that works because it seems to be like Father of Vampires kind of vibe. But I'm thinking of like the Great Python, a force of consumption that to it, right? These spirits are single-minded. Right? The god of law. You're like, yeah, I'll pray to the god of law. Just be careful. Why? He can't. He has a hard time sorting severity of law and punishment because he is a concept that is in the sky and mighty and powerful, right? Heliod, for you Theros nutcases out there, Heliod has the same feelings about a murderer, a blasphemer, a pickpocket, and a jaywalker. Like, he feels the same about those 4 people. That's not good. And so I think a spirit of consumption and predators would be like, they are consuming the swamp. This is in line with my whole steez.
Yeah, it would be really cool if pythons are the one that constrict, right?
Yeah, they grab things and swallow them whole.
Yeah, it'd be cool as they're if the great python encircled their kingdom.
I think for circling and wrapping, it's like a boa constrictor. So it'd be the great constrictor.
Yeah. So if it was big enough to encircle wherever their kingdoms, they aren't able to build further than what's wrapped around.
Oh, interesting. Do they need to be so did he like broker a deal to protect their expanding kingdom with
from
this
all the outside spirits and villages from preventing it? Pretty cool. But having the snake like a sword of Damocles hanging around the town at all times, just ready to destroy it if they ever mistribute or whatever, is super cool too.
I wasn't even thinking the snake is protecting them from other people. The snake is protecting them from the swamp. The swamp does not want to be turned into deck and patio and torn down and will resist it. And I think that it is sort of brokering a deal to be, nothing shall come past here and interfere with these people. All right, cool. So I'm just going to write like, I'm just going to have to just write evil serpent god. And we can spin back to that later. Okay.
Cool.
Cut me off a slice of another kingdom, another place, another town, another village. We had a couple of ideas. We had one that's nestled in the trees. We had one that's like hyper druid, filled.
I think the first I had with the Isle of Misfits that you talked about is like it is the exact opposite of this kingdom. It's everyone has like their own, I'll call it island. It's little patch that goes a little higher than the water.
So it's like way out at the edge, like the Thousand Islands in New York, right? Way out at the edge, there are uncountable small islands that fill that space as the water fills larger gaps and the land gets more solid. And so you just have like rope bridges interweaving and connecting this large area. And it's very like, I'm getting almost like a anarcho-capitalist, like Andrew Ryan is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow. No, says the man in Moscow. It belongs to the people. Somebody where it's like, no, we each live on our own island. We each have our own laws. We don't need to abide. It's the free... I'm thinking fun. It's like the concept of a free city. A city that has no government. That is just... So it's like the free towns... Just the free towns might be the name of it. It's like each one of
the
them.
free isles.
I was thinking archipelago would be added in there. It's not actually a set of islands, but calling it that is funny. But the free towns is sick.
I'll put the free towns on. Let's put the archipelago. Archipelago. How do you say that fucking word?
Archipelago.
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 The free towns. The free towns. There we go. I'm even getting like.
But the people call it fretting. And we're into frettins.
Frettin'. I'm writing it.
Going down to the frettins.
I'm gonna make a pitch that like the posters for the Frettins are their motto is every home a castle.
Yeah.
It's like
I love that. The idea of there being a series like 100 flags on each island, you're like, what the hell is going on?
And in the middle, I consider there being like one just a little bit bigger, and it's like Truce Isle. And it's like we have one law. Is like,
where do they meet? Where's the great moot? Once a month. Once a month we go on down. It would have to be more frequent than that. Like once a week, every Sunday or every Turnos Day, we have a big meeting where all the people come together and talk about problems that are facing the Frettins. And every once in a while, some idiot tries to organize anything and gets killed. And,
100%.
and thrown into the swamp. It's like somebody's like, so we should probably come up with some kind of licensing system for the boats, and they're like, put his arms off. Like, they immediately lose it.
Feed him to the gods.
Okay,
Feed him to the great termite.
I love that. So like we have weekly meetings, every single thing, flags for every isle, and I like the idea that some of the islands are connected by like rope bridges and others refuse. And so it's kind of a mix of, there are bridges that sort of, you can see, if one of the expressions is like, you can see a man's friends in the Frettins, because you can just look at whose houses are connected and you'll know who gets along. And I think that the other people have like big, long, like canal boats that they have to push down. So if you want to go visit somebody out in the boonies who normally doesn't let anyone on their island, you have to take this like canal boat with a 9-foot stick that you use to push your way through, just to maybe have them be like, you go on there, you get like it just immediately wants you out.
Now hear me out. There being an alarm system that doubles as like a welcoming bell. So you go out, and attached to the trees near each Frettin, you have to ring the bell for the person to come out. But large monsters and swamp creatures, when they pass by, will trigger the alarm. So if there's ever like a big group, they hit the alarm and it goes off and everybody runs out. But if you ring a single one, it's you asking for entry to a Frettin.
Yeah. I don't know. You both watched The Walking Dead, right?
Most of it. Well,
I watched the earlier seasons.
Early, there was an encampment that they used a system of like a yarn and a bunch of like cutlery, and it rattled as something hit it. Like I 100% seen that with what you're talking about.
I like it. I think it works. All right. And obviously, I don't think they're super expansive. I think that we get an idea of what they would be. The kind of quest you would get here would be a lot of like small, important things to like go get something or go talk to somebody.
Romeo and Juliet between two of the Frettins that don't have a bridge connected.
Sure.
A bridge that was burned. You see the stakes there that are blackened and charred. You're like, what happened here? There's a lot. There's a lot in this town.
What is the patron being of this place? Is there a god? Is there a spirit? Or is there multiple that they pay service to? Spencer hit us with the great termite a minute ago.
It would be like a great termite colony in my mind. So there'd be just like billions of termites that create one being. So it's the great termite, but it's the great termite colony. I think it's fun because it's a good counter to what these people are, which is certainly not a group of like-minded individuals.
Yeah, termites. The other thing I was thinking about was like a beehive. But
It is so funny for that to be true, for them to. So my question would be, does that extend to the way that these people feel? Like, is it arguing over every single thing, but then the minute a threat touches one of the aisles, the entire thing mobilizes and is immediately united in destruction? Or are they, or anytime a threat arranges, does it immediately turn into people being like, what's in it for old Cal?
I think the first one, because it goes in with the bell system better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of them feel like, yeah, I hate Joe Smith over there, but if that happens to him, I'm the next one to take it.
I hate him, his flag, his island, and his house. But I'll die to preserve his ability to build it. Like, just really in.
Yeah.
They're all more in than anyone you've ever met in a real way. Okay, cool. So what is the like beehive termite wasp equivalent into swamp? Like for swamps, do we know? I'm imagining like mosquitoes, but I don't think mosquitoes have colonies, do they?
Nah, not really. No, piranhas are rivers.
Yeah,
It would be very funny for them prey into the Great Rana. Would just be kind of good.
Damp wood termites.
All right.
Are common in swamps.
great termite. All right, now with that colony I got, do we want it to be just a massive thing and like it's all underground stuff, and or do we want big termites?
It's harder to interact with a trillion small termites
My
that
pitch-
don't create one super being.
My pitch is that the termites are proportional to the trees. So the termites are not like cartoonishly, they aren't the size of cars. They aren't like ridiculously massive. I think the termites are the size of like a small dog. And
and is there like a queen? Let me Google that. Is there a termite? Is there termite queen?
I think.
If there is, it does have to be underneath the Truce Island.
Yeah, they've got a queen. So if you need to deal with the queen, like if for whatever reason you're slaying the great termite, it's that you have to kill the queen. The other things are going to defend it, but it's not like you have to kill every termite in the area. You got to kill the queen.
And I do want to say, I think on Truce Island, I think they can't hurt each other, and I think that's why it's there. Like, I think it does. I think if you go to punch somebody on Truce Island with the queen under it, it's like punching in a dream, where your fist suddenly like slows down and doesn't do any damage, and you're like, "What's happening?"
Yeah, that's good.
Ooh, I've just noticed so late that my audio is a little hot. Sorry, everybody. Okay. So
God, that'd be such a hard one to do too, because the Fretten are all protecting everyone.
it is, and it's so gross, but so good to be like, yeah, we got the mites are always around, and if you want to like pay service, you can give the mites gifts, and it's like, oh, and you take a step outside of the door, and a 2.5 foot tall termite is, and you're like, what the, like the immediate panic. You'd be like, oh, good.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's what I
we've
thought
gotten.
it would be like here.
Yeah, we got into horror at this moment. So.
Yeah, really good, really good. All right, cool. I like it.
We ride them.
Of course they do. So that's the Frittens. That's the Freetowns. Oh god, now my question is, like, I know that termites keep ladybugs, I think, as cattle. Like, that's a real thing
What?
termites do.
I do not know this.
I think it's either termites or aphids keep another bug as cattle, like they keep them around.
For food? For...
I don't know. This is just some fun stuff I read. This is like a bug fact I read out of Snapple car or something.
Snapple, don't give those facts, please.
Ladybugs prey on aphids. So it's, I think, a flip side. I think the ladybugs cattle the aphids.
There's something like that.
A termite is a termite an aphid?
It's ants.
Or-
Ants keep aphids as cattle.
Okay.
That'll come up at some point.
Like,
What-
they just
what-
keep aphids around.
does it say why? Now I wonder.
Side note, have you guys seen that a bunch of killer whales are putting salmon on their head as hats
Yeah.
for the first time
have
in like
seen
40
that.
years?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I love that fact.
Next stream to ocean.
Aphids collect honeydew, and so ants will raise aphids to collect honeydew, and they'll keep all the other predators off of the aphids. I thought it was termites. I thought it was termites and ladybugs for some reason. I don't know how I got that in my head. Okay.
So I feel like that town's done.
Yeah, that's
Breton's done.
That's the
That's two.
Frettons and Noric. So
Friends and Orc finished.
So up next, it's either the Druidic Circle of the Swamp, or sorry, I have a burp, or it's Treehouse.
Skytown. Let's set up Skytown.
Skytown. I do feel the need to inform everybody. Spencer is making a very specific reference. We used to have a group that would play Minecraft together in college every once in a while. Like we would play for like 3 weeks. You know the way you play Minecraft. We'd play nonstop for 3
that's how
weeks
it's meant
and
to
then
be
take a
played.
multiple month-long break and then play for 3 weeks and start from scratch every time. And everyone else would be doing productive Minecraft stuff. And then I would go, thank you, that's so great. And then I would build a town in the sky and call it Skytown every time. At build limit, like as high as I could go, and then down 10 so I could build houses. I recommend it. It is extremely fun. You do die 3 million times because you're not paying attention. But it's a good hang before that. All right, so some real like Swiss Family Robinson, right? We're up in the trees. We've interconnected them. What scale of town are we talking about? So I get the vibe that Noric has at least a few thousand people in it. It's like a fully populated, maybe city, probably not like giant, but it's sizable. The Frettons, the bit I would do as a DM, if players ask, like, so how big are the Frettons? You'd be like, at any given time, the Frettons have between 910 and 23,000 people. We don't know why. Our last
They
4
won't tell
census
us.
takers were all killed. We have no idea how many people live there. It's really hard to tell straight up. Like, we know there are people. That's what we know. What is the scale of Skytown, of the people that live in the trees?
Feeling like 500 to 1,000.
I was gonna counter and say I feel like Skytown would have a lot of people because it feels to me like the oldest, besides maybe the Druids. This would be a group that left their homeland hundreds of years ago, came to the swamp, said, "This is miserable down below. We got to go up." And they built and then kept building out and out and out. And now they've got kind of a massive colony of people that enjoy plenty of comfort because
Okay.
they're not in the swamp.
So I have
It's where I would go. If I had to live in the swamp, I would be hitting Skytown quick.
two. So I kind of have two pitches then that I see it. So either number one, it is a settlement, and it is just sort of the first settlement of outsiders that was ever here. And number two is that it is the other option is it's the bird folk lived here first, and then people came and started living with the bird folks so that they wouldn't die of giga malaria down in the swamps where the mosquitoes the size of horses are. Those are the two versions of it I see. So it's either people came up and they started building in the trees, or people arrived and saw a kind of pre-existing structure that has adapted for people to also live there.
That's fun. I like that it was pre-existing, and now they have brought themselves in.
Okay, so what's our sort of legally distinct Aarakocra-like bird man? What lives in the, like, herons, right? Like cranes. I kind of like the idea of it being cranes and herons, like big, tall, in a way that an Aarakocra is clearly meant to be like an eagle that can still shoot a bow. The thought that they are these like extremely tall and thin humanoids that like
Yeah.
dive in to get fish.
We got egrets, we got cranes, we got herons, we got the American coot.
It's just a fun aesthetic difference, because for all the jokes, I don't want to just do legally distinct bird man. I want to like kind of find our own sauce to put on it.
it's
I like the idea that it is these like hyper tall, thin, big-eyed, long-beaked. It's very different. It's very alien in a way that I think would be more fun than it's a guy with feathers.
I think our best bet is the Great Egret then.
Okay, Michael, what's your
Okay.
thought?
if we really want to divide and make it a flying creature, but not bird, make it dragonfly people.
So now so now I already have an idea for a dragonfly, and I was waiting.
Okay.
So dragonflies are, fun fact, the most dangerous and lethal predator in the entire world. So I was thinking that the dragon of the swamp is a dragonfly,
yeah.
and is, I think, CR28 is like the single most deadly and dangerous creature in the world.
It's roving. It goes all around.
Like, I think the great dragonfly eats rocks. Like, I think its natural prey are birds that can carry giants on their back. And everyone's just like, yeah, no, we just don't go outside for the whole week that the great dragonfly is near us. And that's our solution so far.
Yeah, that's super fun. I agree with Great Egret. That'd be very cool.
Also, that's just the name of a bird. Like, it's called the Great Egret. I realized after I said it that now it goes against our naming convention a bit, but that is the Great Egret. And these people are like Egretin, something like that.
Yeah.
This is the Great Egret.
No, I think I think these people worship and pay homage to the Great Egret, and they're the Egretin. And I think the Great Egret is where they come from. No ifs, ands, or buts. These are the Azamar. They are more the Azamar than anything else of this world, and they are the immediate descendants. So, like, the immediate question I have that we just need to answer so we know a little bit more about this town. Did the Great Egret spend a couple of years sowing its wild oats in a, like, humanoid form? Or did it make children?
I feel like it's like kobolds. They just kind of spawn from it.
They create around their spawn.
I'm down with that having happened once. I don't want that to be ongoing, because it's a little... I mean, actually, it might be kind of fun. Wait a minute. Alternate pitch. I like hard fantasy. It might be kind of fun if it's like, well, so like, do you two, so like them being like, we're expecting. It's like, how long is it going to be? And they're like, don't know. And you look behind them and they just like, we burned incense on the shrine. And they're just one day. And like, so what's going to happen? And you go out with them and they just dig in the mud and just pull out an egg and do that like tap, 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 tap thing where they open and close their beak super fast because they're excited. And it's like, another gift. And so like they have to just go find the eggs of their children.
I like that because of what I know about birds, which is very little. They just lay eggs. They just be laying them, whether or not they're fertilized, whether or not there's a chance of there being a child.
That's true.
So them being like, I'm laying it either way. We're fingers crossed. It could be the Great Egret is the one that's dropping the eggs and they all have to go get them, or it could be them, whatever. But I think that it's fun for bird lore. Just be like, yeah, sometimes it works. Sometimes we get a new Egretin.
Oh, that's interesting. So I can tell you the answer. The problem is the answer to your question is long and gross. So birds do what's called a cloacal kiss, where they basically take their combination buttholes / everything else, and they go, eh. And then an egg gets laid with a bird in it a little while later. So my question is, and I think it's and I do need to know the answer. Do the Egretins... and then they lay an egg, and then that egg hatches. In which case, these are a normal species in the world and are not created all through the power of the Great Egretin. Or are the Egretins an agender bird group that find eggs in the woods? If we're going like
bird group that find eggs in the woods.
Okay. Cool. So there's some like signs, right? Something happens that lets them know, or is it just every spring?
They just go out.
Eggs appear, and it's like everybody just knows. No, in the spring you go out and look, and you just go out and look for the eggs that will be there, hopefully. So I kind of like the idea. Can I give like a really weird pitch then? I don't think the Great Egret is big. I think
it's slightly bigger than the Egret.
I think the Great Egret is like incredibly majestic, but I think when the Great Egret mates with a normal egret, egretins are the result. Like that egg hatches and an egretin comes out. So I think sometimes in the spring you'll be walking around and you'll just see a like 1-year-old walking around, and you're like, all right, this is our quest now. We need to bring this kid over to the tree town. Okay, cool. I love that.
That being a random encounter is so funny.
Hmm.
Roll a d20. You get a 1. It's a bird kid.
There's 100% going to be a quest of like the great alligator's favorite food is the egret's eggs. Protect.
Uh-huh.
And
I could see you find a random egg before you go to Skytown and you don't know the lore. So you pick it up and the rogue is like, oh, we can take care of it. And then when it hatches, we'll have a griffin to ride upon. It buzzes out. It's just a dude. It's like, hey.
just a little bird
what's
man.
up?
And you're like, whoa. I love it.
Mom. Whoa.
And then when people moved in, I think that also helps it make more sense why when people moved in, they'd be like, come on in, and would just happily kind of cohabitate with people. Is there's a lot of benefits to having a stable group that doesn't fluctuate wildly based on the whims of the great egret. Like, okay, cool. Are we just going full Skytown?
No. Unfortunately, the first name that popped into my head was Skypiea from One Piece.
Can't be that.
That's not gonna work.
Can't be that. Can't
That's
just be One
obviously
Piece.
not
Can't do
gonna
that.
work. Can't just be One Piece.
I
We flip it so we put the Skypiea at the end of the beginning. No. The great. Nope. Can't do the
Can
great.
the funniest option for me as the kind of DM that I am is for someone to be like, oh, what's the name? And I go, oh. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the town. It's like, oh. How do you spell that? And the humans and like kobolds and goblins and elves in the town are like, we don't know. And if you do it wrong, they get confused. Like, you need to nail it.
Like, what are you talking
every
about?
time. You need to nail it.
How about like High Branch?
High
Make
Branch.
it sound old.
Off of Ethan's, I was gonna call it Screech. That's just what people call it. Because, like, I'm not gonna try and recreate bird talk. It's Screech. I don't know.
I'm happy either way. Do we have a
Same.
preference? I think Screech is funnier.
Screech feels more like the swamp.
More to swamp. You know what?
Swamp-esque.
I've got a pitch. It's called, people call it Screech. Otherwise, you have to make the noise the Screech. And but New Chiron always sends letters addressing it as like High Branch, trying to give it like a normal name. Be like,
They
I'm not
refuse to call it Screech.
I'm not writing Screech on an envelope. I'm not doing it. All right.
Yeah, that's fun.
The great egret who hatches the egret and the people moved in Screech. How does this town, do they just live? Like, are they just doing their own insulated thing? What are the people doing there? Do they have exports? Do they have imports? Like, what's the deal? Why would you go to Screech? What would draw you there? Right? Because if it's just those people live there and do their own thing, then the only time we're going to run into them is when plot contrivance demands it, is when you find an egg or need to do a quest. I want to know why a player would be like, I'm going there for X.
Finally not being in the mud.
I think it's the safest location. Most creatures can't get to you there. So because of the safety, there's going to be some benefits. There's like, you need to revive somebody. Screech is a good place to go. That's where healers are. That's where a lot of people go because it's safe. Supplies that you want to get that aren't quite as good as Chiron, then you can go there. It's going to be more expensive. It's not going to be as good, but you're not supporting Jeff Bezos. So some players are going to want to go there.
Something I do think is fun, and I think makes sense of why it's so safe. The great egret is not dangerous, but they are highly territorial.
Yeah.
They defend their territory from other animals, including humans, if they feel threatened. They skewer things with their bills.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They have like
A
long,
razor
sharp
beaked
bills,
great
and they
heron.
stab people with them.
egret.
Super safe. And so I'm gonna say, okay, so like well defended. I kind of like that. It's a fun reversal to be. It's really fun to have this group where it's like they are extremely kind and love it when people visit. I cannot stress to you enough how important it is that you leave the smoke at home. Like you just can't. They are. It is
Don't
not
start
a good
anything.
place to go cause trouble. You are gonna run into. You're gonna run out of luck real fast. Okay. So now it's time for us to hit the circle of the swamp.
So the first line out of that, they are. It's like towns submerged in the water, and the people are amphibious. That's where we have like the frog people or lizard people or something like that.
That's pretty cool. The frog people being the druids of the town is pretty sick. It is pretty
So we
sick.
have kind of a our sort of first druid, because an archdruid, a very high level druid lives. They age at I think like 1/100th or something, the rate that they normally would. So they live like incredibly long lives. The first druid is a frog man or frog person that is full Yoda style, is a like wrinkly old green frog that is hundreds of years old, that can speak to the tree, some real Oogway shit up in the down into swamp, which I think is pretty powerful.
And this is where you go for secrets and stuff, lore about the swamp, things you might need to know if you want to like take down the great alligator.
So is old we've named the first druid Old Croak. So is Old Croak secretive? Does no one know where this place is? Do people know and they visit? Like, there needs to be some obstacle of some shape. I just want to know what it is, because I need to know bare minimum like why the king hasn't killed this guy or kidnapped him.
I think they're super strong, and also you need to provide something to gain access. Some big gift, big gesture.
But is it like... So I guess my question is it only the pure of heart? Only those who love the swamp and hold it in their heart can come there? Or is it bring a fly? Bring big fly.
The fly is massive.
If you bring me the great fly, you can come in.
As a big
Great fly.
As a fan of like unbelievably like magical, where like I want my elves to be weird and 9 feet tall in every setting. My instinct is that you need to go on like an ayahuasca journey, and when you're done, you're in the Bogtown. Like, but they're like, no, that's how we get here too. Where are we? I don't know. What do you mean? It's our little corner. What do you do? Well, you find out they're bright blue mushrooms called, like, I don't know. They have some nonsense name. You take one and you walk into the swamp. 2 days later, you're in this place. That's how you get there.
What I love about that is the idea you get there and you get back after your ayahuasca journey, and you're like, was it real? And the DM just goes, check your pocket.
Belt
And like
real.
you have the branch, and it's like, but I could have just grabbed the branch from. It's like, well,
Yeah, I like the idea that it's like, oh, but like, so anybody could take the mushroom, and Old Croak being like, anyone can take it. Not everyone comes back. And you're like,
yeah.
so I passed a
God.
test. So I
Yeah.
did pass a test. I would love the idea that it's like, oh, you get there. One of your players just decided to play like lawful evil because they thought it would be funny, and it's like, hey, Chironius the Red, not here. And you go,
Nah, making it, brother.
and you look around and he's just not there, and you're like, what? No. You finish your little quest, you come back, and Chironius the Red is like still high from the mushroom, just like sitting in the water. He's like, he's so sunburnt. He's just like, hey guys. And you're like, Whoa! We did not have the
What
same
happened?
experience just now. So here's the question. Is the vision quest too silly and we want you to be able to get here by bringing a fly as a sacrifice?
No, absolutely not. Vision Quest is hilarious and good.
It's unique.
I like that it gives you a question of what is real in the swamp.
I love the idea that like you meet Old Croak outside of the swamp and you're like, is it real? And Old Croak goes, was it real to you? Yeah, then it's real enough. It's like, all right.
He fades.
Not super helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So Circle of the Swamp, Old Croak, Vision Quest, Is It Real? I love all of that. Can I get like one more? Do people live there? Or do you trip the light fantastic and find a druid grove with like 5 people there?
I think it's a really small group. I think it's like a council of the swamp.
I'm cool with that.
Also, are we gonna put a death cult that worships the great alligator in or no?
I was thinking at bare minimum, I want some vampires that worship the leech. I'm still waiting on us to start talking about deities. We got 14 minutes left, so we're running low on time. And I'm going to say I have decided the name of what you call... I think it's something you can do... I don't know if the only thing you can do on your vision quest is find this place, or if there are like other things in the swamp that can be found, but I've decided it's called Tripping Fantastic.
Yes.
They're like, oh, you took the trip fantastic. Well, I'm glad you made it. And it's like, what do you mean?
It's like, what?
Sorry, he said that's how you get there. And he's like, yeah, you made it there and back. And he's like, so both things weren't guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Like-
Could have been anything.
And like,
Could have died.
yes.
I could understand.
Okay, good.
See, like blue mushrooms bring you to the druids. Red mushrooms bring you to something. Green mushrooms bring you to something else.
It's like,
Different
is it,
trips.
and it always works that way. And one of them goes like, it's like, what's that? What's that? What did you just do? What's that face? What do you mean? It's really funny. Okay, cool. So then my next question. So you would go there. That's sort of just like your mission hub, a place to go get a quest and have a good time. So now it sounds like we're ready to start having a little bit of Pantheon description. And by the way, I don't think there is the great for that place, because I think it's so like, what's the spirit that protects you? And they go, spirit of the swamp.
Yep.
It's all around. For me, the bit every time would be that they talk not just near the same or with the same vibe. I would quote the way Yoda talks about the Force word for word. The swamp surrounds us. It binds us. It holds us together. When you die, you return to you, me, that rock, that tree. Like, it's all the swamp. It's so funny.
The only counter I have for that, and it makes it a little more mystical too. The great one is the great turtle or the great snapper, and their council is like 6 frogs sitting on a turtle that's moving around.
Oh,
Now
no.
that could be where the green mushroom takes you. Is to the great turtle.
I see Ethan loved the idea so much she's dying for it.
This is gonna last for the rest of the stream.
Oh,
He's gonna feel this way for the next 12 minutes.
I think I just popped a blood vessel in my eye.
Hell yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm crying actively. Sorry, it was the majesty of the swamp.
The
It
swamp
brought
is so
tears.
beautiful.
I couldn't help it. I had no choice at all. Okay. So we like there at least being the great snapper. I think that's funny.
He's a friendly spirit.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start talking about deities.
Let's
I
go.
feel good. I feel good and
Yeah.
Sound
strong.
good.
I can tell. Sound fresh.
All right. I got 2. I got 3-ish that I need. No, I got 4. I have 4 that I need. Number 1. I need the dragonfly. Is the dragonfly big and dangerous? Is it a spirit? Is it both? Is it neither? How do we feel about that? I'm gonna cough a couple more times.
I feel like there's kind of both. There's the spirit, and that is the spirit of the swamp. There is a physical manifestation that is big and dangerous.
So I guess my question is, so like these as different things. Like the swamp has this. Does the swamp have a manifestation? And then is the great dragonfly, as we've spoken about, is it a version of a dragon? Is it just like a big, dangerous, fleshy creature that will live a long time, or is it like the guardian of the swamp? But it's not defending you; it's defending the swamp. And so if it it's like It's like how Godzilla in some versions is the defender of Japan, but that doesn't mean he won't accidentally destroy the city a little bit on his way through. Or is
The
it...
idea of Japan.
Or is it... No. We track its flight movements, and you just don't go outside when it's nearby. I have to cough again.
You're good. I very much like it being the guardian. The only problem I have with it is how does new Chiron exist with this being here?
The deal with the snake.
And the snake is strong enough to stop.
I don't think it's a matter of it being strong enough. I think that the town is protected by the snake, and so the dragonfly does not go there.
Oh, all right. Fair.
That's it. It's no. The spirits do what they're doing. The snake, they're under the protection of the serpent. And I think that if you were to ask Old Croak, like, why haven't you gone after them? He would say something along the lines of, and it wouldn't be a good thing. It's Old Croak is going to live hundreds of years, and so doesn't want to start a dangerous, deadly, fiery, short-term conflict to solve what to him is a long-term problem. And he'd be like, one day the snake will tire of them. Their offerings will shrink, and the snake will be drawn too thin, and it will eat that man, and I just will wait for that. And you're like, cool.
Keep it down.
He's 22. When do you think that'll happen? And Old Croak would be like, it'll be him or his grandson. And you're like, okay, cool. So we do need to sort of take care of that a little sooner. Our timetables are not the same.
Yeah, I like that.
So the dragonfly is a guardian.
A spirit of sorts.
Is a great guardian spirit. I love that. Number 2 for me is the leech. I need it. I need the great leech. The great leech. A foul like blood god. Now, my only question there. Excuse me. Do we want to lean into leeches or medicine? Like, do we want the gods of the swamp to be like Dungeons and Dragons gods normally are, where it's like they're 90% good or 90% evil, and there's some little like wiggle, but pretty much they sort into the two camps? Or is it like, nope, that's the Great Leech, the god of vampires, blood, and medicine? And it's like, well, okay, fine, like careful what you wish for a little bit. It's like, no, the Great Leech made the vampires and gave them their powers. So he's why they exist? Yep. And he loved the world so much, he made them die in the sun. Okay. Yeah. For sure. It's just like the great egret, Lord of Birds, Carer of the Winds. Oh, so it like delivers the children. No, it hides them in dangerous places across the swamp, and they have to pass a deadly trial to go get them every year.
So the strong survive.
Good. Or is it the great egret protects them? The great leech, nasty vampire man.
I like the first one better.
Yeah. Weaves better tail.
Blood god, medicine. I love the idea of a creature that makes vampires because they pray to him for strength, and makes them weak because other men pray to him for saving. Like, I just think that's really good. Okay. And then the next one we already talked about. What's the deal with the great catfish?
He grants you 3 wishes.
My instinct would have been, of all the things to make the god of the swamp, it would be the catfish or the alligator. But that didn't sound like our consensus in any way. Those are the 2 creatures that I'm like, swamp.
I think catfish is the god. Like, the actual heart of the swamp is pretty sick. It is pretty sick. Because I feel like it's always flowing. You don't really see it coming, and then it's there. You know, it's not a turtle. I feel you can see from a million miles away. Catfish goes into the murk.
Deep in the mud in the
Never seen
water, swimming with its like big whiskers. I don't know. It's just what I imagine. It's like the immediate picture I get when I think of like a great god of the swamp is a big catfish that you can pray to and that you just throw things into the water and hope that it gets.
Now, what does the great catfish, the heart of the swamp, do? What is he the god of, or it the god of?
I guess my question is how much like big G versus little g. Another tip: big G gods, law, destiny, truth. They're vague. They're out there. Tauraxes, the endless horizon. What's Tauraxes the god of? Fate, destiny, stars, light, astrology. You just start listing, and it's like those 20 or 30 kind of loosely connected things. Or it's this. Why, that's Kevalinus, god of dying by burning alive. All right?
Yeah.
Kind of a narrow cast, and you're like, hey man, I'd ask Kevalinus. That's lowercase g god to me, is like, I'm the god of one thing, or one. So like, is this catfish, if the great catfish and all of our gods are lower g gods, so it's not like the leech is the god of blood, then I would say the leech is the god of blood and medicine here. And then to me, the great catfish is the god of the swamp. What's the great catfish the god of? The swamp.
The swamp. I think the great catfish is the only capital G god in the swamp.
Then I will ask, what
It
is
has
the
a physical manifestation in the area?
what is the great dominion of the catfish that people travel here for? Like a cleric to the great catfish who lives literally on the other side of the world teleports here to petition his god for a favor. What is he petitioning for?
I'm looking up what do catfish do, and the AI response was they create a fake online identity to deceive others.
Not like
It
this.
is not quite.
Honestly, the catfish being the god of obfuscation and deception,
It's so funny. Murky waters, yeah.
of obfuscation, of
That's
like,
pretty
hi,
sick.
anytime you want to tell a little white lie, you pray to the great catfish and hope that he sort of
And that makes sense for the Frettons. They're people who have fled from the townships outside to this location, sort of like a rogues, pirates bay thing. So it makes sense why they came here. The great catfish would protect them.
So I'm just looking up what catfish do for the ecosystem. They act as predators, controlling populations of other organisms, and as scavengers, consuming dead plants and animals. Those are their big things.
okay. Let's see. Catfish are sometimes associated with fertility and prosperity, transformation and deception. They're associated with earthquakes in Japanese mythology, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And destruction and renewal. Like the thought that, and I kind of like that because the swamp is such a like life and death
Weird
as
ecosystem,
closely brought together as they kind of ever are. Oh my god. Okay, let me just read some of these. They're known for laying large numbers of eggs, which is where the fertility and prosperity things come from. They're like abundant creatures. Transformation and renewal, because catfish can quickly adapt to new environments. They are associated with psychic sensitivity and intuition because their little whiskers are electroreceptive. Like they can pick up on electrical signals, which is crazy. All right, so there's a couple. This does make me want to give the great catfish lightning powers for sure, but I'm willing to be vetoed on that.
Yeah, I think it's cool for it to be death and destruction and foresight are the main things for it.
So kind of a Mothman style, like, does it cause the thing that happens, or does it warn you that the thing is going to happen? I kind of like the idea that if the catfish portends a disaster, there's two benefits. You're like, well, number one, we know it's coming, and number two, anytime the catfish portends a disaster, we know that we will come out of the other side stronger. It's when the catfish is silent, right? So what do we have a lot of loose ideas up in the air here. Let's kind of zero in. We don't need to pick all of them. I don't want to. So we have the catfish as a god of deception. We have it as a god of like fortune and prosperity and destruction and creation, kind of like the swamp is this place of like hyper condensed life. And then we have it as the god of the concept of swamps. The concept of like the murky edges where water is filtered, right? Because salt water doesn't make it all the way inside and kill all the creatures. It is filtered and becomes fresh water by the time it makes its way in. Is there one of those that we like?
Deception for sure, because I think it makes sense for why people would flee to the swamp. I also like renewal as like a shorthand for creation and destruction. Where it's, for something to be born again, it needs to be destroyed the first time. So there is sort of a life and death connection. But the great catfish isn't the guy weighing the scales before you go to the afterlife. It's more the cycle than anything.
So then my next pitch would be, I think one of the things you can pray to the catfish to do is to just wipe you away. I think that, like, not even... I think that you can... give your past to the great catfish, and that's why there's so many people in the swamp. Like, one of the things about this place is you can give up who you were, and renewal, like, it will eat that, and you will, whoever you are after will be a completely new thing. You will decide for yourself. You will wander out unawares, and it opens us up to a fun... it wouldn't be good for every table, but I think it would be cool for like our table, people that play together a lot, of being like, you are sent here to kill somebody for something they did. They don't remember doing it, and they never will.
That's pretty cool.
Who they were is gone forever. The catfish, I want to be clear, this is a one-way street. The catfish eats those memories. They are gone.
Gone. Sin eater.
Oh, yeah, I love that. The catfish is like the great sin eater. And that's, because the swamp filters salt water into fresh as it passes through roots and mud. I kind of like the idea that the catfish sees no difference between any two men who arrive. I think is pretty fun.
That's sick.
Okay.
And it's 9:02. We kind of did the damn thing.
Listen, we've got, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 gods/spirits, 3 towns, a secret druid circle swamp. This is like, we're good. This is like
we're burning.
This is enough for like a type 5-page, like 520-page zine. We could get this thing out next week. Come on down to Swamp. Have the great catfish eat your rotten memories. Pretty fun.
Welcome to the swamp.
Two things. I'm just looking at swamp animals. I didn't know otters could be in swamps. I didn't know that was a place that they
sort of grows.
I thought they were river and lake creatures, but I'll take it. Oh yeah, because Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is all swamp shit.
cool.
And what's the second?
Everybody
everybody
can relate to and knows about Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, right?
Nope.
For everyone at home, also immediately clued in to Jim Henson's Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, right?
Yeah, go ahead and hit us with that deep lore. And
No,
Yeah,
good.
that's
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I apologize.
You ever realize halfway through saying something that probably nobody else knows what you're going to be talking about?
I'm talking nonsense.
The second thing was, it popped in my head that feels very swampish. Crayfish.
Oh yeah, that's another good
Some
one.
crawdads.
Yeah, some
I know
crawdads.
it's tough. It was fun. The big challenge of this for me, and I imagine we're done. I don't think we'll be returning to the swamp on stream. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it again sometime.
One more.
We could do 9 more if we wanted to. I just don't think it's a good idea. We could do 1 more and be pretty safe. It's very fun being like, all right, how do I make the swamp and make it fun and interesting without it being de Louisiana? like my vague, never I think I have been in the state of Louisiana, just not for very long. How do I separate out my vague impressions of what that is like from I know
The
about
mythos of
swamps, I know about egrets.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun trying to navigate between those sort of two wills there. All right, well, if that's the case, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on the next one. Peace out. Go listen to The Prince of Charming. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's full length. It's fully edited. Spencer put in sound effects. Episode 1 is up. You'll get episode 2 soon, and everything else is progressing well. I'm excited to hear the rest. It will be, these edited sods will be as much a surprise for me as for the rest of you. I've only heard episode 1 sort of as a preamble, so I guess we will all see as a unit. That's the only thing I needed to call out. Definitely go watch that. Like, comment, give it 5 stars. If you listen to it on 1, can you listen to it all the way through on the other 2?
Just play it and turn your volume down.
Give it 5 stars there. No, turn it way up in a public space. Thank you all.
Loudly announce who made it.
Kind of talk about it a lot. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.